5, 4, 3.
An enchanted world.
The Tsar of Imperial Russia.
A sorcerer's curse.
I will not rest until I see the end of the Romanov line forever!
A young princess.
Anastasia! Grandmama!
Who vanished without a trace.
Hello, welcome back to the Waffle Press Movie Retrospectives. I'm your host, Diego Crespo. Just kidding, I fucked up the opening, but that's all right. We're here to talk about movies, and this is the show on the Waffle Press where I bring on a guest for a one-on-one discussion about a movie of their choice. We'll talk a little bit about their history with the film, a little bit about themselves, and have it packaged in a nice little bow. These discussions usually get like messy because they're the most unscripted versions of this show on this channel. So my guest today is Christine Singer-Luna. That's the correct thing, right?
Yeah, that's how you say it.
Yes, I got it.
Good job, Diego. We've been going to bar crawls for a couple years now. I'm glad that you can say my name correctly.
Thank you. Yeah, we've known each other for a couple years now.
Yes.
How do we meet?
Oh my God, I remember exactly how we met. And okay, funny story.
I'm
I can
scared.
share. No.
You can say it though.
Okay, so we were. I was walking with a mutual friend of ours, Cruz Castillo, and we were talking about another podcast that we used to do together. And we were walking up Greenleaf, and I saw my friends, Lourdes, Mary, and Angelique, and I was like, oh my God. Whenever I see my friends, if you're my friend, you know I act that way. And I'm like, oh my God, hey. And then Cruz was like, Diego? And Diego was like, Cruz? And I'm like, oh, okay. So I guess we all know each other because Diego was hanging out with my friends. And then we went over to this guy who should not be named, his place, and we just like hung out there, and he was a total douche. That's what I remember from that night. But I met you, Diego. So that's the best thing.
It was worth it because of that.
I agree.
Yeah.
We gotta hang out though. We spent some quality time, and it was like right before New Year's. Yeah, it was good times. Good times.
Wow, that was a couple years ago now.
I know. 2000. What did I say? 16? 15. It was 2015 because
really.
Yes.
Oh my God.
2015.
Wow.
Crazy.
Okay. We're getting up there.
We're old.
That's okay. Speaking of old, we're here to talk about Anastasia. That's the movie you want to talk about for this discussion.
Yes. 1997, old.
Older. I mean, so much of like the film discussion circle is like Avengers, Star Wars, Disney stuff I all love, but like, I want to talk about other things.
Right. Like what? This is a Fox Entertainment film, right? There was this film that I really enjoyed. That wasn't your classic Disney film, but it was my favorite cartoon. I would sing these songs all the time. In addition to The Swan Princess. Have you ever seen The Swan Princess?
I've never seen The Swan Princess.
Freak. We should have talked about that one. Well, we're going to talk about Anastasia because we're most prepared on that one today.
Yeah. I took notes.
I know.
I did research.
That's
Usually when we do the other version of this, it's the long form version. Where we go over like a series of films, the retrospectives. My
You guys did it for Jaws.
Yeah.
Yes.
Matt does it for those, and God bless him. I have to edit everything, so I don't feel that bad. But so Anastasia, I also really loved it growing up.
Oh my God, really?
A lot.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
I loved the animation, how the characters were less like animated expressively, expressively animated. Like, they had like human
they weren't
features.
fake. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Like they're human features. Like,
yeah, they had like there's details in like the nose and the eyes and the ears that felt like tangible in a way that other Disney stuff didn't. And there was always this debate online. Like, I don't know if you ever had, like, Tumblr and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. I actually just deleted my Tumblr because they changed their guidelines. And I was like, if you're going to change your guidelines to... Is this... Wait.
You can say, like, whatever.
Okay. So, like, they took off porn off of Tumblr. I'm like, what good is Tumblr now? So, But yes.
That hurt a lot of creative artists on there, which is too bad.
Right.
I mean, it's not like skeevious porn,
No, it's not. It's just like... It's... one thing that I liked about Tumblr, and this is not a porn podcast, but it's like...
Go for it, it's fine.
But there was, like the women's erotica was, like, real because women made it for other women. So that's just where I came on from that perspective. But I really, like, that stuff, I don't know. And also, I don't really look for it. So when I was on Tumblr, I started doing, like, NBC. Yeah, I would follow, like... random Disney pages, and like they would like fan art and stuff of Anastasia and like different types of media and like animation and art, and it was so great. But anyway, I digress. Tumblr.
It was. I mean, that's the point I was going to get to. Anyways, like it was such a great place for like fan communities, and there was always like a debate, like, will there ever be a way to make Anastasia a Disney princess? Now, the Disney Fox merger. I promise we'll talk about Anastasia at some point. The Disney-Fox merger is being concluded this year in 2019, the year of recording this, and that's like bad because a lot of people are going to lose their jobs, and it's going to hurt a lot of movie productions.
Oh, wow.
But it does make Anastasia technically a Disney princess.
Finally! I'm going to go to Disneyland, and I'm going to wear her costume.
You know what? You
Can
could.
I?
Yeah. I don't know if they'll have her there, but technically it does make her one now.
Is it like how Princess Leia is now a Disney princess because of the...
Yeah.
Wow, now that I think about it, Disney is like a monster.
It's scary. Like, I would love to work for them, but also...
Would you?
I gotta
They'll own
say,
everything you think of.
I want that Disney money.
You want that Disney money.
I'll write a superhero movie for them. I don't care. I don't have like...
Yeah, well, I mean, I go to Disneyland every week with another one of our mutual friends. Shout out to Captain Kirk.
Yes, Kirk, come back to the podcast so you can find out what you've seen.
Yeah, right. He sees nothing.
No, which is why it's great on the roundups we do, the roundtables. When he comes on, we find out what he's seen recently, and sometimes he'll come back and be like, I googled independent films, and it turns out I've actually seen a lot of them. And it's the best. I miss Kirk. Come back.
Well, Kirk doesn't watch a lot of movies. I can tell you that Kirk saw The Incredibles too, but that's because someone dragged him there, and I really wanted Kirk to see Mary Poppins with me, and he's like, no, I'm not down. So, but you can talk to Kirk about Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yes!
So
that's, again, another reason why Tumblr was so great. It brought all these people like together in these communities. There was a great Kingdom Hearts fan base on there. And Anastasia's not in Kingdom Hearts, so I am going to wheel it back a little bit.
Okay, all right. Disney, Kingdom Hearts, all right.
Yeah. So Anastasia was directed by Don Bluth and Gary Goldman. They directed a bunch of movies together, like Rockadoodle, All Dogs Go to Heaven, Thumbelina, Troll in Central Park.
Which are all Fox Entertainment, right? Fox Animation.
The last movie they made for Fox Animation Entertainment was Titan AE. Did you ever see that one?
No, I don't think so.
That's actually my favorite of theirs, because I'll get into it. I do have some issues with how the characters... I like how the characters look in their animation style, but when they're getting like into the song and dance numbers, I'm like, I don't know if I like it matching with this, because these are very expressive movements and everything. It doesn't feel like it matched what came before. Titan AE is like a straight sci-fi adventure movie, and it's not great, but I love it. And it killed Fox Entertainment.
Wow, really? Was it?
It bankrupted them. Like,
I was going to say it didn't make any money.
No.
And the budget was probably... Well, good news. It's on tomorrow at 11:20 a.m. on HBO Family.
Yes.
So go home and make sure you hit the record button.
Yeah. But Anastasia is the not true story of Anastasia from Russia. I don't remember
The
her last name.
Romanovs.
The Romanovs. Thank you.
And, which makes me... Actually, okay... Sorry, I know
go ahead,
I don't want to
ahead.
get distracted.
No,
but
that
Amazon
happens all the time. Do not worry about it at
great.
all.
I have my own podcast, so I don't like. It's usually kind of formatted, and I don't really talk on the podcast, so it's weird hearing me talk on this one. Haven't done it in a while, but The Romanovs is actually a new anthology series on Amazon Prime. Did you do any research about that?
I did not. No. Now I feel like I'm unprepared.
No, that's you don't have to
all
feel that
of my
way.
notes are bullshit.
Exactly, everything. No, but I like that show because Matthew Weiner, who created Mad Men, he created that show, The Romanovs, and so I actually have done research, my own independent research, because I'm curious, and the internet is like a rabbit hole you can just sink into. I'm sure you're familiar with the internet. And, I learned all about the Romanovs and stuff. And my family comes from the Ukraine. Back in the day, in the USSR, it was Odessa, Russia. And then once the USSR was over, then now it's the Ukraine, Odessa, Ukraine. But my family is Russian, so I was always like, oh, my God, I'm like a little Russian princess.
So this was like your movie.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I loved it, because it's like, there's not a lot of Mexican representation at that time. So I was like, hey, little Russian princess, why not?
Well, no, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Fun
about
fact.
You. Yeah.
There you go.
And you mentioned you had your own show. We'll be hopping back and forth between this, but this is a more conversational
Yeah,
sort
Diego,
of podcast.
we haven't hung out forever since like the last Bark Crawl.
I know. And I
That
didn't
was so
die.
random. You didn't? Oh, I left.
Yeah, you left early.
Midway.
Yeah, that's okay though.
It's okay. Busy people. Love you.
Thank you, too. So you have your own show. I listen to it, but would you like to tell the viewers a little bit about it?
You listen.
I
Thank
do.
you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate the support. I produce a podcast called What's Up Whittier. And the reason why I know that Diego and I met December 2015 was because I started What's Up Whittier with two gentlemen, Jesse Curio and Remo Saeed. You guys can follow them at Room of the Realtor, at J2 Architects, and I'm at The Singing Moon, and What's Up Whittier is at What's Up Whittier. I met them in December 2016, and ever since then, we've just been interviewing local business owners in the community. We had a series, because we had like a local election in April, so we had a series on interviewing local people that were running for office. We've had Linda Sanchez, our congresswoman, on the podcast. We've had Majority Leader Ian Calderon on the podcast. He's our assembly member, right, in the state assembly. And we have not had you on the podcast, Diego. We got to get you on the podcast. But, yeah. And then,
I don't know if I'm as interesting as those people.
Yes, everybody has a story, and that's the point. But so I'm doing What's Up Whittier, but then also, I don't know if you guys, if anyone of your listeners, I'm sure some of them are familiar with Uptown Whittier. There's a brewery that's coming located in the Nixon Plaza, which is where we're actually recording. And the concept is the Poet Garden. So it's kind of like an Anaheim Packing House, Grand Central Market, but like on a smaller scale. You're going to have the brewery in the back corner that's going to sell hot dogs. You're going to have like a sushi, or not sushi, but like a seafood restaurant. You're going to have a vegetarian restaurant, and you're going to have like a pizza stall, like all these restaurant stalls. It's going to be open seating, fire pits in the back, a beer garden outside on the patio. And if you can imagine what the Nixon Plaza building looks like, there are two doors that face Philadelphia, and on the left there's a big window. And if you peek into the window, you'll see that there's a little room. In that little room, as of this moment, it is like the skeleton of the future internet radio station. So it's like such a long thing to explain it. But go to WIPA Radio. If you are a podcast or content creator, you're a musician, you want to be a DJ, just go to our website, WIPAradio.com. We're working on a project to create Whittier's first internet-based radio station. So we will be broadcasting live from the Nixon Plaza and Poet Gardens. And if you want more information, feel free to email me at info@WIPAradio.com. I'm very, when I started doing podcasts, when I started listening to podcasts when I was 14 years ago, and when I started working on podcasts 4 or 5 years ago, I never would have thought that I would do this, and here I am. But also, the penultimate of my career is being on the Waffle Press podcast, because I have helped you guys record for the Sharknado, and so now I'm here. So thank you for having me here.
Thank you. It's good to have you back. That was a fun one.
Yeah.
And all the links to everything she just mentioned will be down below also for
thank you, Dia.
listeners. And it's really nice to have you on. So go back to Anastasia.
Okay,
now.
Anastasia, sorry.
No. It's what this is for. I love that this movie is. It came around the time that the Disney Renaissance was kind of
absolutely
right after its peak. You could tell the decline was starting. People started getting less interested in 2D
Hunchback
animated
started
films.
coming out, right? I think that was 97, 98.
I'm
gonna Google it.
I didn't do info on that. But Hercules was recent, and I know Hercules didn't do as hot as they wanted it to.
Hunchback was 96, and I think
Okay.
Hercules was after that.
Yeah, and so that's when the hits aren't hitting as hard as they used to, and no one can kind of figure out. Mulan came a little after. Mulan, I think, for our
Mulan
generation
was 98.
especially.
Hercules is 97.
Yeah, and Mulan especially was a big thing for our generation, and it's a great movie,
I think for feminism's sake, as a girl, watching that film, and in Anastasia as well, just watching these young women who are doing things like Mulan, right, is spoiler alert, she goes to war as a man so she can protect, her father can live because she knew that he would die. But like in Anastasia, the song Journey to the Past, heart don't fail me. Da, da, da. I told him I would break into song because I love this musical. But like Journey to the Past, when she leaves that orphanage that she's lived at, like from what she remembers to be, especially her adolescence, Anya, when she goes off to St. Petersburg, that's so scary. Like, imagine this is a time where obviously there's no cell phones. Like, you can't communicate. This woman has nobody. She just has her little pup, and then they go off in the snow. That jacket is so worn and tattered, and her gloves don't even have, like, finger things to cover her fingers. I know I would be freezing. But, and just Anya's whole experience, trusting these two men, to help her maybe take her to this woman who might be her grandma. And, it's an amazing story. And it really, I think, just kind of told me, like, you can do whatever. If I can do it, you can do it. And that is also a song.
I think it does have a great message behind it. And I want to highlight the cast for a second. Meg Ryan as Anastasia.
Okay, yes,
John
fire.
Cusack as Dimitri.
Ooh, that's when, you know what? Literally, I had a crush on John Cusack before I even knew it was John Cusack. I swear. Sorry. I digress.
And Kelsey Grammer as Vladimir Vanya Voynitsky Vasilovich. I hope I said that right.
Hold on, let me try saying it. Vladimir Vanya Voynitsky Vasilovich. I just said it with an accent.
No, it's better than mine.
All right.
And Christopher Lloyd as Rasputin. Christopher Lloyd as in Back to the Future.
Yes, I love Doc McBrown. But you know who really does a great job is Hank Azaria.
Oh, yeah, as Bartok.
And I didn't even know Hank Azaria was Bartok, just like how I didn't know Hank Azaria voiced everybody in The Simpsons. I did not know he was Bartok.
And I believe he said he wasn't going to voice Apu anymore, right?
Yeah, I think they're killing
said.
off Apu.
Oh.
Is that something?
I don't think they have to kill him off. I just think they got to fix that. And I'm glad he stepped up to the plate for that, though, because that's
is he not voicing Apu because it's offensive now?
Yeah, I think people are aware
or it's
that
less PC.
Yeah, people are like, hey, we've had a problem with this for a long time. We just want to remind you guys.
Just representation. Get an Indian person to be Apu.
Yeah. How hard is that? And so I thought I got her. I always respected him after I heard that. Also, in the 1998 Godzilla film, it's not good, but I like him.
That's right. He's the Godzilla with Matthew Broderick and I like that cast.
And none of the other singing voices are like people that are big or notoriable, but I do want to highlight Rasputin's singing voice because that is Winnie the Pooh, the one and only Jim Cummings, who sings. I didn't know that, and so that just recontextualized my entire life when I found that out. And I just want someone to go out there and possibly put clips of Winnie the Pooh singing Rasputin songs from this.
Oh my gosh!
Specifically, what's that? Into the Dark? I know I wrote it down.
In the Dark of the Night.
In the Dark of the Night. There it is. Because that song fucking rips.
The nightmare I had was as bad as can be.
Sorry.
Oh, it's so good. No, it's fine. It's
that scene always creeped me out just because he's literally breaking. Mm-hmm. But then as an adult, like I said, I done research. I learned about Rasputin, and oh my god! First of all, that's cool. Be a philanderer, do whatever you want, but it's I learned real adulterous stuff, the Queen, the reason why Rasputin was her dude is because he was her dude. What? Mm-hmm. And obviously they don't touch upon that in the movie, but and also in the movie they don't touch upon how everybody was put into one room and they were all shot to death.
Yeah,
that's crazy too. But I don't know if you were going to mention this, but the Queen of all Queens, Angela Lansbury, and the other Queen of all theater queens, Bernadette Peters, are also in the film.
They're her grandmother and
yes.
Who's the other lady?
So Angela Lansbury is the Dowager Empress, right? The grandma, the Tsar Nicholas's mom, and then Bernadette Peters is the cousin, Marie's first cousin, and the lady in waiting. She's the one that sings "Parry holds the key to your heart." Like, and
that was very good.
Thank you. I'm not as Bernadette Peters, but anyway, so I thought that was really good. It's important to mention her, especially because of that song. Like, it's a beautiful song, and it doesn't creep me out as much as Rasputin's song does. Rasputin, I was really scared of him as a kid. I'm not lying. Like,
he's
serious
a creepy
fear.
dude.
Like, this was a movie, but it was scary.
I mean, because like just even the real life person was such like a monster.
Yes, he was.
That even this animated version of him that has like a hundredth of the power that he had in real life in terms of like his fear that he could inflict on people, because this is animated and that was real and he did really bad things.
Yes, exactly.
I think that goes to show just like how bad he was. And for some reason, Rasputin keeps making appearances in like fiction as Rasputin, but he's like, because all the occult stuff, people like occult villains. I do too. Like I'm surprised he wasn't an Indiana Jones villain. He's a villain in the first Hellboy movie. In the comics,
really?
Yeah, in the comics too, I think, but I don't read the comics. And oh my god, there's something else. I just remember the first Hellboy for sure. And that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing as like who's another, like Crowley. Like Crowley
Is that
pops
the supernatural one?
Yeah, it's supernatural, but he's also part of the occult, and so I mean, he's part of the occult, so he's in other different types, just other programs, other content he's mentioned, or whatever.
Yeah.
Crowley. So I thought that's interesting, though. I didn't know that he is used as a character in other works of fiction.
Yeah, like he just has this staying power, I guess, because he was like, he was also assassinated. We should also say
Rasputin
was assassinated.
Good.
He did not drown in the lake, in a frozen lake, like in Anastasia, and he did not have his little bat friend to
Bartok.
try to save him. Bartok, yeah. Bartok the Magnificent. That's a spin-off movie that came out after this.
Yes, and actually, fun fact, I have the Family Fun edition of the DVD.
My God.
Yeah, and I actually have the Bartok Fun Adventure on the DVD. We should watch it. I'll let you borrow it.
I'm actually down for that.
Yeah.
But because again, I'm still getting used to this new format that I created, this weird...
that you developed?
That I developed.
I'm a professional podcast producer. We'll consult after.
Thank you. But we don't talk so much about plot here as much as we talk about like the filmmaking, the people,
yes,
and behind the camera and as a guest, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So
not my fears of trains and boats.
But we can talk about that because there's a lot of those in this movie. But we're not going to break down the plot by plot like the retrospectives. But I do want to mention why I think the song that he sings in the Dark of the Night is so impactful. So he's quote unquote dead, right, for years. And then Anastasia comes out of hiding to go home. He's gathering like all his demonic forces, and as the song progresses, it's not just like a fun little bop, because like that high key, that song is great. I think it's the highlight of the movie for me, maybe except for like when Anastasia goes Das Vidanya and he like bursts into dust. That was great.
That was a good one, too.
Even as a kid, I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
That was. Yeah, I really like that dress that she does that in. Like at the end, cool. Her beautiful yellow dress. Yeah.
Also, I think one of the only like women protagonists in an animated film to not have the prince just rescue her, but also to go like mano a mano with the villain for a minute.
Oh, that's
like she
true.
straight up just decks him, which is
for
awesome.
Mulan.
Of course. Yeah.
Mulan.
I mean,
well, Mulan came after the fact.
Mm-hmm. And it's still far and few between,
Right, exactly. Which again is like, that just brings up another point of, I guess you could, I have not done, this passes the Bechdel test. It totally passes the Bechdel test.
Yeah, because there's a romance, but it's not like the point of it.
Correct. And, even during the romance, it's like he's conflicted. They're both conflicted, right? Because they essentially come from two different worlds. And again, talking about the plot.
But we can't. It's not like taboo or anything.
I know.
Don't worry about it.
What is the format, Diego? No, but I also love that it's, that, you see the female protagonist really kicking ass and taking names. And that name is Rasputin.
And so when he's singing that song... and we're not just seeing him gather like his forces and stuff. Like the film is showing us like through the animation and like the backgrounds that he's descending further and further into hell, and he's getting more and more. He's getting everything, and once he finally reaches like that last little layer, that's when everything shoots back up into Earth to like wreak havoc.
Right.
And so
exactly.
it's hyping you up. It's a great song, but it's telling the story in a way that's like impactful and meaningful. And then there's the Paris song that does the same thing. Because like if you look at the backgrounds, depending on like what section of the movie it is, it's like picking up a different animation style. So like in Russia, it's like the Baroque Renaissance type of Disney stuff.
Right. Yes.
And in Paris, it's more of like Van Gogh, like Starry Night kind of pointillism stuff.
Oh yeah.
Kind of gets you like all caught up in the wonder of it. I've never been to Paris, but
Me neither.
I'm sure it's lovely.
I'm sure it looks like a Van Gogh painting.
Yeah, yeah. If it doesn't, then you guys are all fucking liars. and
Exactly.
I'll
and then
never go back. And then-
After you go the first time, you'll never.
after I go the first time, I'll never go back. But I'm definitely going once.
Well, I can tell you this: Paris would hold the key to your heart.
That would be something. I don't think I have a heart.
Who knows? Maybe the key is out there and it'll open in your heart.
Actually, you know what? No. Paddington 2 gave me my heart.
Oh, okay.
Paddington 2 is a perfect movie.
Paddington. I haven't even seen. Well, I don't have a kid. Well, I have nieces.
I don't have kids either.
Yeah. I don't know. You watch more movies than I do. You're a film critic.
Yeah, but I got to stop watching so many because so many suck. But no, I'm just kidding.
Well,
Even the ones that
you
are
gotta
like,
pick and choose, right? Everybody, even people pick and choose their screeners, dude. And people get
Yeah.
screeners like for free.
but like I actually borrowed one from Gene. It's in my backpack right here.
Oh, shout out to Gene.
Yeah, thanks,
Hey,
Gene. I'll let you know how searching is. But no, I think it's to not to digress into a whole other thing, but like I think it's important if you want to study film, you want to make films, or you just want to like write about them in general. You have to watch as much as possible because you got to understand like what works for you and what doesn't.
Mm-hmm,
You know, because like we love this movie, but if someone came to me and was like, "Hey, Anastasia sucks," I'd be like, "All right, why did you feel that?" If they're just being an asshole, then I'm like, I don't care. But if they're like, "Well, because," and they have like a thesis on why it doesn't work for them, I'd be like interested at the very least, you know?
Right. Well, because that's their critique.
Yeah, you know? Like, it's all about the discussion. I think that's why I like doing these. Because, like, getting the discussion. So, in some ways, I'm like, oh, shoot, we both like it. But on the other hand, I'm like, yeah, like, because I'd never get to talk about this movie.
Oh, yeah. I
know?
mean,
I don't hear a lot of people talk about it at all.
No, not at all. And then when you asked me, honestly, like, oh, we still got to have you on, and you're like, you should pick a movie. And I was thinking like, oh, Baby Mama or Sisters. Like, I love me some Tina Fey. So, or Mean Girls even. So my first, I really wanted to do a Tina Fey movie. And then I like turned my head and I looked at my bookshelf and I saw Anastasia, the DVD. So I was like, oh my God, let's do that. So I'm glad that we both like the movie and we can both do it.
Yeah. Okay, some weird issues I mentioned about the animation styles clashing.
Uh-huh.
I still think that kind of breaks the movie at times for me. Because it wants to be so expressive in terms of the animation, like I just mentioned with the backgrounds too. And I don't think it finds a way to match that. And I think this is a problem that Don Bluth and Gary Goldman had for like their entire careers until Titan AE, which then killed their careers for like a decade. And I still don't think they've really come back. I think they're just like, they're retired now, forcibly.
Well, I think Bluth is selling bananas.
Oh, that's good. I have not thought of Arrested Development in like 4 years.
What? You didn't watch the new Netflix?
I saw the original season 4, and I'm one of the few people that was like, that was pretty good.
They added new material. They add new stuff to it. I think you should watch the 5th.
All right, maybe. I don't know.
You know what? I love the Bluths. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
No.
I
you
feel
like
like
Development.
Yeah, I do like that show. But I also wanted to say, like, the other season sucked. I'm like, to be honest, I don't think any of the seasons ever sucked for me. And I think that's just because, like, I like that family. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say, like, I've built a relationship with that family, but because I don't really know the Bluths. And one time I went to Balboa Island and the banana stand was closed. So it was like, whatever. But there's an actual banana stand on Balboa Island, actually. Fun fact.
I actually did not know that.
Yeah, it totally is. Right across from Fashion Island.
Oh. I don't know. Maybe I'll check out Arrested Development again at some point. I don't know, though.
Bluth.
Yeah.
Don Bluth. Yeah.
I'll check out the rest of Don Bluth stuff again. I remember All Dogs Go to Heaven was my first like run-in with his work. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that was great. And I was like 5 or whatever.
Yeah. So you're telling me that in addition to Anastasia, Thumbelina has like the artistic ways clash because of the directors?
No. I don't think.
Like, what do you
I don't
mean?
think they clashed. I think the material clashed with the way they're presenting it. You know, it's like if they, like, imagine if you shot West Side Story as the same way. It's a musical, song and dance numbers, romance, but then everyone commented about the dancing a little bit. Because, like, maybe that's too extreme of a point. Like, just because the way the characters are drawn, they're more like the emphasis on the grounded human element of, like, the face and, like, the movements when they're just going about their daily stuff is good for that material. But when they start breaking out into the song and dances, I think it makes them too rigid at times.
Okay, I understand what you mean now.
Okay.
Because I'm also thinking about, like, I'm trying to think about other scenes in the movie where I feel that, and I feel like the song "If I Can Do It," it's not as artistically done as "Paris Holds the Key to Your Heart." Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I can see it from that perspective. Also, I love that song. I love all the songs. When I was little, I used to sing "Once Upon a December." I straight up had the the music box with the locket. I had the doll, and then I had little sister. And now I don't know where any of my stuff is. Aww. I know, right? But yeah, no. Honestly, my favorite movie as a kid. I digress.
No, that's all right. It wasn't my favorite movie, but I liked it a lot. And I still like it a lot.
You know, like, when you were a kid, didn't you just watch the same movie on repeat?
I still sometimes do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I used to have I was going to say the CD. I was like, no, I had the cassette. Like, I had the cassette. I would listen to it all the time and just, like, pretend I was a Russian princess. You know, speaking of animated musical numbers, my favorite is "Once Upon a December." My favorite scene is and I wonder if maybe it's yours. I don't know. If you're listening to this, people, this is the scene I always think about whenever I hear "Once Upon a December," and it's when it's like all the ghosts come in, they start dancing. It's a little less creepier than the Haunted Mansion, actually much less creepier, and it just fills me up with, like, such joy because it's obviously a memory that she had when she was a kid, because those are the same people. They're dressed in the same way. After, once you watch it a bunch of times, you start noticing, oh, hey, that's so-and-so. Oh, that's that person. They were dancing too. Oh, that's the same dress that she was wearing. So I always think that's very interesting. And also, one of the paintings that's hung, the main painting, that's a real painting.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I'm
getting schooled on my own information.
Yeah, fun fact. So I had done the research on that too. Like, honestly, when I was in high school, I think I just kind of went. I was really reliving my childhood, and the reason why I have that DVD is because it was $5 at Target, like,
oh, nice,
8-9 years ago. So, once you watch a movie, got all the info.
I love that scene. I like ghost stories a lot too, and for that brief moment, the movie becomes a ghost story. Like, I have to imagine, like, I don't know if Guillermo del Toro has ever seen it. But if he had, I have to imagine he'd be like, that scene's the shit. I don't know if he likes the rest of the movie. Oh. But I bet he'd love that movie. Or that scene in the movie.
Yeah, it's a beautiful scene. I like that one. And then another scene that I really like is when they're on the boat. I think what it is I love my sisters and I love my family. So all of these scenes where Anya is an orphan. Anastasia has a whole family. So when she's having these memories, well, like we just spoke about in The Dark of the Night, when, all evil goes up to the train to go, attack Anya, she's drawn into that. And it really touches me, and it makes me so sad because she's having these memories of these people. She really doesn't know them, but she knows them, like, in her heart. And then, she almost jumps off of a boat, and then Dimitri saves her, and oh my God, Dimitri. Yeah. And
I don't want to end on a sour note. I promise I'll end on a positive note, but I do have to say I have mixed feelings about a movie that uses real tragic circumstances like this, and maybe lightens them up a little bit. It's different than, like, Hercules, and I don't begrudge anyone for movies that tackle stuff like that. Like, I think that comes down to personal preference, but I'm interested on your take on that. Like, if a movie, apart from this one, because you both like this one, but, like, if a movie, say, tragedy happened in your life, and someone makes a movie out of that, and maybe makes it a little lighter than it should, Do you think that might bother you?
No, yeah, definitely. That would, I mean, if it was me personally, like, that would definitely bother me. But also, wouldn't it really bother you if, like, people came out of the woodwork and said that they were your family when that was absolutely not true?
Yeah.
And that is the inspiration of this film, Anastasia, because as you remember in the beginning of the film, you have, freaking Vlad and Dimitri, trying to pawn someone off as the real Anastasia. Like, I remember the woman who has the smoker's voice. She's like, Mommy, Grandma, whatever she says, it's me, Anastasia. And it's like,
that's
girl,
the funniest thing.
my little, I'm an actress too. No, my impression. But, that's where that part of the story comes from. Like, obviously, I do not think that. I think that if they had done a scene where instead of, they're evacuating, Dimitri's like, come through this way, and the grandmother takes her on the train, that the way that was framed seems like legit. What if there was an Anastasia? As opposed to the real way that it happened, where Tsar Nicholas, his wife, and all of their kids were taken into a room and were shot down. And then there are conspiracy theories saying that, the kid didn't, like, one Anastasia didn't really die. She snuck under the floorboards, or she snuck under, but the truth is that, well, I guess I don't know what the truth is. I wasn't there. But, she died, and all these people had come out of the woodwork saying that that's her, like, I am Anastasia. And that is the most popular one because she was, like, the youngest daughter, I think. And whereas her older sisters, their faces were pretty much already defined. When you get to a certain age, like, you can already see that's how you're going to look as a young woman, as an adult. And I think Anastasia was just so young that a lot of people who obviously weren't either mentally ill or were cons, made that decision. And I really think that the film doesn't highlight the death of the family, but it highlights finding your family. Yeah, so if it was me personally, my family, I would feel conflicted. If I got some of that Fox animation money, maybe I wouldn't. No, I'm just kidding. But
I mean, to be fair, there is no there is no family to get upset over this. I'm sorry if that's a little dark.
Well, that's obviously not true because you haven't seen the Romanovs on Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay.
Where it's like all these people who. And, I mean, they have cousins, they have cousins, they have aunts, they have uncles, very distant, mind you. But, I mean, their family existed. Like, I don't know if the grandmother really got actually, that's interesting. I don't know what the fate was of the grandmother in reality or grandfather.
Yeah, I was going to look it up, but no, I'm going to leave that one just out there.
Okay. You look that up, listener. You look it up. You send me an email, Christina at whatsupwithyear.com. You let me know.
And as we wrap up, I do also want to bring up one more thing. I promise I'll end on a positive note. It's just something that I got to mention about the movie. A big problem that started happening with the Disney Renaissance stuff, like Hunchback of Notre Dame and Hercules, is that there was a lot of comedy that was in the movie. And that was, I think Disney has a pretty good handle on injecting comedy into their stories, but there was some that was more modern, and Disney Renaissance was specifically not modern. When you got like Nike NBA jokes in Hercules, it's like it conflicts with that story.
Oh, like Air Jordan jokes, like Air Hercules and stuff. Yeah,
like
sure.
I actually think it's funny, but it's weird that it's in this story because it's not about him becoming a sports star, and the movie doesn't take time to knock that down. And Anastasia, I think with Bartok, gets very close at times. And then
for
absolutely
sure.
Face plants with the ending with Bartok and the pink bat.
Yeah.
Up until that point, I'm like, it's not really bothering me too much. And then that happened, and I was like, Jesus.
And then he has his own spin-off. Well, if I can comment on Hercules, I also recently saw Hercules. And that movie doesn't even talk about the trials. Or it doesn't specifically talk about how Hera was his stepmom, that his mother is a half mortal, that Zeus pretended to be like an animal to seduce her.
Oh, Zeus is a dick in the
exactly.
texts.
I mean, he's he's pretty much a douche in the movie too. So it's like I really was like, take it easy there, Zeus. You're annoying me.
Well, Zeus is like he's like bro in the movie, you know?
He's total bro. Yeah. Oh my god. And then Hera is like some sweet, adoring mom. No. She was like she was so spiteful of Hercules because he's half mortal. Anyway, I digress. Disney, you're doing your thing. And also, I haven't even read The Hunchback of Notre Dame, so I don't even Notre Dame, so I don't even know, what like the discrepancies between the Disney story and the actual story. I just know that I was Esmeralda for Halloween as a kid.
Well, I guess like my thing is I don't want to make it about the discrepancies, just like the jokes or again more modern, sure. More so, you know. Right. Like I think I'm one of the few like people on regulars on my podcast where I'm like I don't care like if Batman kills someone, it's a movie. Also, he's not real, you know. Like if it's a
wow, who are you talking about
story,
right now?
I gotta call out Gene for that because we still talk about it. But if we have like
I know Gene still talks about how Superman versus Batman was like the worst movie, and the best part was Wonder Woman. I agree,
and I like it now. It's like, it's fine. I don't care. I'm not going to defend it to my death. I'm just like, I think it's interesting.
When did that come out? Like 2016?
Yeah.
Anyway, no, we're going to get on this DC tangent. We're talking about Fox Entertainment.
I could bring it back right now.
Okay, perfect.
But just to continue on that point as we finally wrap up here. I'm sorry if I kept you over a little bit.
Oh, no. Dude, this time is yours.
Oh, thank you.
Although the Tsar did not survive, one daughter may be still alive.
The Princess Anastasia! Anastasia? Alive?
Ain't that the kick in the head? I guess a curse just ain't what it used to be, huh, sir?
And again, I think that's why I was so happy to do Anastasia with you, because no one really talks about it anymore. And it's unfortunate, because it's a very good movie. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's one of my favorite movies, like... No, it is one of my favorite movies, but I don't think it's like the godsend or anything.
I
mean,
it is. Yeah, it's not like the best movie I've ever seen in my life. It was just one of those movies that, I remember from my childhood that brought me so much joy in my childhood. Mm-hmm. Just like Swan Princess, but really this one so much just because, one, I was like 5 years old when it came out. And my little sister was born like right after in 98. This movie is like 96, 97?
97.
97. Yeah. So my little sister was born in 98. And I just remember like being at shout out to my tia Elvira, who used to babysit me. Just like watching that movie and like dancing. Like I was in a ballroom. Like I would wear a ball gown. It wasn't like a ball gown. It was probably like the dress, like my flower girl dress I wore to my cousin's wedding. But I would dress up to this and I would sing and dance. And I remember setting up like toy blocks. They were pretty thick. They weren't like Legos. I'd say maybe they're like 2-3 feet wide, and like 5 or 6 feet long. I don't know, rectangles. And point is, I would walk along those and I would sing I Can Do It with a book on my head, like pretending I was like poised and a princess. And she never cared for stroganoff. She said that like a Romanov. Like, I don't know. When I was prepping for this film, I sang a lot of it.
That's the right way to do it.
I did tell you I was going to break in the song.
Yeah, and so. I'm glad you did. I've been very harsh about like nostalgia as like a concept lately, because stuff like Ready Player One and everything, like the constant like bashing of 80s. I love 80s movies too, but there are other movies, and like everything's trying to like go for like nostalgia IPs, and it's so obnoxiously overwhelming to me. Mm-hmm. But I think there is a purity to stuff like this, like when it's personal to you, Mm-hmm. I think I just hate when it's like corporatized, and this is like the opposite of that, because the Waffle Press is like no money, but also like
you're in no profit business.
we're in the no profit business, yeah, exactly. But you have a deep admiration for the movie, deeper than I do, and I like it a lot. And I think that helps keep it a little more special. So thank you again for joining me, Christine. One more time, where can people find you online?
Thank you so much, Diego and Waffle Press, for having me on. You can follow me, producer Christine, at The Singing Moon on Instagram. I have a website. If you need a notary, or I don't know, if you just want to look at it, ChristineSingerLuna.com. Also, I have a page on Facebook. That's Christine Singer Luna at Christine4USA. I don't know why I just made one. And then, just keep updated. Follow the podcast, What's Up Whittier. Follow the new internet radio station, WIPA. That's our call letters, but it's at WIPA Radio. And if you want to, feel free to drop a link or anything if you want to volunteer and become part of this new thing for Whittier. You don't have to be from Whittier because you have to hear it on the internet, so it's from wherever. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for everyone for listening. Thanks for watching. If you didn't like this, like and subscribe anyways because you might find something you do like. I'm just going to end it with one of the songs from Anastasia. Hit it, Bartok.
This can only end in tears.
And bring me home at
Anastasia.
I'd give her a ha, then a hi-ya, and I'd kick her, sir.